There is no sort of generic hate crimes. We've seen hate crimes happen in schools, at work, on the street. I would say that in general, the Sikh American community is often more vulnerable to hate crimes because of our religious and racial identity. Sikh men and some Sikh women wear turbans. They are an article of faith. Most of the community is from India, so we are brown-skinned people. We also maintain our hair unshorn, beards unshorn, and so the appearance of Sikhs causes a lot of there is a lot of misunderstanding amongst the broader community about who we are and what we represent, and that makes the community more vulnerable. A lot of times we'll see police officers who just don't know how to investigate or don't recognize that if somebody's been assaulted and they've been called bin Laden or terrorist, that is evidence of a hate crime. We also run into prosecutors who may acknowledge that there is evidence of a hate crime but are reluctant to file charges because it's very hard to get a hate crime conviction. Hate crimes require prosecutors to not only prove that an assault has occurred, but also prove that the assault was motivated by bias. And that's that intent is very difficult for prosecutors to prove. A lot of times also, if you do prove that a hate crime occurred, it may not add additional penalties. And so prosecutors fail to see why they should do this additional work to get a conviction for a crime that doesn't really add anything in their eyes in terms of penalties. So it can be very, very difficult. The worst had to happen in order to convince the federal government to start tracking hate crimes against Sikhs. In August of 2012, someone affiliated with the neo-Nazi movement entered a Sikh house of worship in Oak Creek, Wisconsin, and actually killed 6 people there, injured 3 others before committing suicide. So that hate crime, had taken place on sacred ground, and it was devastating for the Sikh American community. And like I said, the worst had to happen in order to show the feds that a problem was happening and they needed to document it properly.